Hello, this is Dave, and welcome to Equity Story. I'm with the one and truly, the great Peter Kopetz. Um, and this is just general share advice, not personal advice. How are you doing, Wolf?
Are you taking the Mickey already? Just when you're starting?
Uh, well, I couldn't help myself. I couldn't help myself because, anyway, before I take the Mickey, Wolf, I just want
Yeah.
to make a bit of an announcement because some people might have read in the newspapers that Equity Story is starting an IPO, yeah? And a message from our CEO, and he said, and this is from all of us, as a thank you for all the support from Equity Story members. Later today, Equity Story Group Limited will invite paid subscribers of Equity Story to become a shareholder of the company under the priority offer. Under the priority offer, eligible Equity Story subscribers are invited to apply for 10,000 shares, for which they will receive priority over subscribers to shares under the company's offers. So it's an offer that Equity Story members will get priority, which is great. And it says, importantly, subscribers may apply for additional shares under the offer, i.e. more than 10,000 shares. However, the first 10,000 will be allocated as a priority in the event the offer is oversubscribed. So once the offer opens later this afternoon, eligible Equity Story subscribers will receive an email from Boardroom Limited, which will include the prospectus, which must be read before any application can be submitted or accepted, instructions on how to apply, along with a unique priority code. You must enter the unique priority code on the application form to ensure you receive this priority offer. Please reach out to us tomorrow morning if you have not received an email from Boardroom Limited. So, very exciting, Wolf.
Ooh, we're going big, Dave. We're going big.
Well, you know what? I did something once, Wolf, about a week ago, yeah? And this might be really weird. I stopped randomly about 1,000 people, yeah? Over, well, maybe it felt like 1,000, might have been about 100, right? And asked them if they'd ever heard of Equity Story. You know, no one ever has.
There we go.
So it just shows, doesn't it? Is that you know, I think, and when you look at it, I reckon less than 1% of people, maybe 0.2% of Australia know of Equity Stories. So although we live in this world and we think everybody knows us, you know, getting your story out there is you know, takes obviously time, doesn't it?
Absolutely. That's the key. The trick to being global, isn't it? Get your name out there.
Right now,
Mm.
the funny thing is, Wolf. So there was an article in, and I've learned, and there were some real pointers in the article in the AFR. The first thing you can see, Mr. Trent McGraw, right?
Yeah. Oh, what a handsome man he is.
Well, rule number one: never get a CEO that looks like a Calvin Klein model, because you're never ever going to look very good in photos next to him, right?
Yes.
So, so we're going to have to fatten him up or do something with him, definitely, yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, Wolf, I go down here, and after 5 years of hard work, they called you Paul Kopetz after your brother.
I know.
So,
So
so,
I can't even, I can't even get myself excited and send it to my mother. But she'll go, that's not you.
so anyway,
Sorry, Paul.
so how do you find that after years and years of hard work, your brother got all the credit?
Look, it always happens like that. It's, I can do miracles and then someone else takes the credit. It's just typical, isn't it?
Yeah, okay, but apparently, if it does cheer you up, they will change that later. And I did ask them to try and crop Trent's photo to make him look fat and ugly, but they wouldn't do that.
I was going to put that article on my wall, but not anymore.
Yeah, God, never get a good-looking CEO like that. It's just what a stupid thing that was, right? To do. I mean,
Oh, God, you look very average next to him.
I know. I should have got someone like just fat and ugly. I mean, you know, really silly.
A
But
ring maybe, and say this is trend.
all right, we've got a few stocks to get through today,
All right.
Mr.
Did
Wolf.
we go through the disclaimers?
Yeah, we
By the
did
way?
it. No, we did that. We did that.
Okay, I hope so. Just make sure
Yeah,
that everyone got the
yeah.
disclaimer.
Yeah, we
It was
said it.
on the screen, but
Yeah, it was.
mention it. This is all going to be just general advice, of course, as per usual. Everything we say on here is stock related, and chart related. All right, Dave, stocks. Give us something.
Okay, can we, before we start about today's stories, yeah? And good to see our market up. I'm sort of a little bit surprised with that, Wolf, yeah? But war is looking pretty close. Now, I don't want to be alarmist. Like, we'll sort of wake everyone up Monday morning and say, Europe. But I was very interested that the Americans are getting all the American nationals out of Ukraine. The Brits are doing the same.
Aussies are doing that too.
Aussie, so they've obviously had the tip off, but we're going in.
Yeah.
This could be potentially a bit of an ugly week for shares, Wolf.
Possibly, yeah, absolutely. Like I said, this is playbook 101 from Russia. They're going to do something, and we talked about it before. Is that probably end of the Olympics? That's what they're going to move. They don't want to probably do it just beforehand. Otherwise, the athletes will probably get thrown out, right, or something on those lines. So, of course, it's all about image and everything else. But anyway, yeah, we're on the brink, I'd say. So we can see by the movement. So you've got the big powers pulling all their stuff out. We can see gold going up. We can see oil going up. So that's why we are very well prepared that something's going to happen.
Well, let's look at the war stocks, Wolf, okay. and obviously, Russia, if they go into Ukraine, there's going to be massive tariffs put on them. The Americans have already said so. Russia are sort of big importers of raw materials. They're big importers of oil and gas, and this could benefit companies like S32, arguably BHP. We got Rio. Let's go through these slowly so everyone has a war stocks: S32, BHP, Rio, Santos, which you can see is moving up, and you can see the market's really thinking war, aren't they? You can see a lot of these stocks moving up. ORG.
Obviously, the thing is that you don't know how ugly this is going to get if it starts. So, it could last a few days. It could last months. You just don't know what's going to be. And I don't even know, if actually America is going to go through with the sanctions. I know they like to wave their finger a lot, but how hard whether it's going to work or not. Russia's, taking the punt is that's NATO's weak, America's weak, and all the allies are weak. And it's been proven over the last 10, 20 years they've really done nothing.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, Wolf, the British soldiers arrived in Poland last week. So.
Oh well, they're going to need lots of borscht, sauerkraut.
There's only 200 of them, but mate, that's all you need.
They're finally going to find out what real food is about.
Well, they'll just teach you how to point those guns in the right direction. But as you can see, Woodside doing well. AWC, NHC, coal, the coal stocks. I mean, mind you, saying that, Wolf, the interesting thing, you're going to get a lot of supply constraints over and tariffs, but that's not from China. China are pretty much going to keep it open, aren't they? They're not going to be.
God! Can you trust China to have it open? Maybe they colluded with Russia.
Well,
no, right? They've been talking apparently. Remember, recently they got together and condemned what's going on in the West. I don't know. I mean.
Well, you heard it first on Equities story. And of course, Wheat Wolf. They're massive wheat producers. So GNC, maybe Elders, right? So, and then unfortunately, these are just ideas. I mean, gold is starting to shake its booty a little bit, right?
So it's shaking very hard. I mean, look at this. It's up 7%. Some of these stocks in gold space. It's not trending yet, but there's definitely life in them, isn't there?
But you know what? Gold is trending, Wolf. And you look at Northern Star, what, a P of 8? What dividend have you got on that at the moment?
3.5, I think.
Okay, I sort of get it, but it's below trend. We want to do a little bit more, but evolution, right? Again, these are the better gold plays. AGG, more international. That looks a little bit better. Look, breaking up is above trend, so that's one to have a look at. PRU. Yeah. So again, these gold stories, Wolf. These main gold stories.
WAF.
Let's have a look at WAF, and again, that looked good like the other week, didn't it?
Yeah, that's right. So I'm thinking maybe that one's still okay.
Yeah, at least it's above trend, right? So definitely. So there's plenty of ideas there on those gold plays, right? Those war plays, and really that's what I'd be looking at this week.
Yeah, fair enough. It's got to be prominent. It's got to be front and center, these stocks right now. Let's hope it doesn't come to any conflict, but unfortunately, I've talked about it before. I just can't see it not happening. So it probably will. Yeah, Russia is obviously pushing for it. They wouldn't put 100,000 troops around Ukraine and then not go ahead with it. It just makes no sense.
Yeah, do you think they'll try and sort of maybe just claim the Russian-speaking part of Ukraine?
All Russian-speaking, Dave.
I thought they speak Ukrainian.
It's Russian.
Oh, is it? Oh.
Yeah.
So there isn't a language called Ukrainian?
Oh, maybe a dialect of Russian, but it's all Russian.
Really?
Yes.
Oh. But it's a dialect, because when I look on the map, I looked at the war map. It said Russian-speaking parts. So what are they speaking the other parts?
Well, it'll probably be a dialect of some. It's just, like in the UK, you've got Scottish, which I can never understand what they're talking about. Completely different world, but they all speak English, supposedly.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what I mean then. Like Ukrainian dialect and Russian.
Yes.
Oh,
I do know what you mean. Absolutely.
You just like to make me look silly. You're like my wife.
How difficult is it?
No, it's not. It's very easy to make me look stupid.
Right, so let's go through some announcements this morning. So we've got the war stocks ready to go. You've got a very nice hot stock, and that's Woodside, because we've already seen oil and gas cross over that $100. We've got a strengthening US dollar. We've got a weakening Aussie dollar. That's all going to play into the hands of Woodside and all the other war stocks, 100%. So that's looking beautiful, right? But the thing is, it might be a short-term trade. I don't think this might be long-term. This could be a short-term trade. It could be a spike, and then you got to take your money and move out, if obviously it plays out how we think it's going to play out. So yeah, let's look at some of these announcements, Dave, this morning. Let's start with Bendigo. Banks. Look, they are at least finding a bit of more flavor, more like a defensive type story, right? Especially in this market, understandably, especially when you still got a very good real estate space in Australia and an economy that's still doing okay, right? So you tend to think that the big stories like the banks should do okay. The theme out of all of them is the margins are under pressure. There's a lot of competition, fight for the mortgages and so on. So that's the theme, but it's still holding up and a good dividend. So that's why they're attractive to the investors out there at the moment. Next one, car sales. And look, I like these results. I didn't mind it at all. It's in a difficult market. The cars sales are actually going quite well for them. The only thing for me, really, if I'm going to be nitpicking here, is the bottom line and the EPS. It's just not growing fast enough for me, right? So for the stock is trading on over 20 times, and the EPS is only going up by 6 to 8%. It's just not there for me. So
it's typical of this market, isn't it? It's sort of quite a good announcement. It goes up and everyone goes, oh, you're too expensive anyway, bring you back down.
Right, exactly. So I'd say it's probably going to trade between the 20 and $23 for the moment. That's how I feel it. Okay, 88 is the next one. Again, love the story. Remember, we always love the story because it's such a niche player and dominant in its space. It's just been too expensive in this market right now, so it had to come back. They delivered a decent result today. Still talking about chain supply issues, still talking about chip shortages. So I'd say for the moment, sideways at best.
Right.
Next one.
Jan.
Okay result there. Again, they delivered a fairly decent thing. That's why it's probably holding up quite well. It's not too expensive, I think, Dave. That's why it's probably holding up. One of the better stories out there in the tech space. And education at the moment is still doing quite well. So that's holding up, but I would not be rushing into this. Holding at best. Next one, JBH. And you know what? Look at that. It's unbelievable, isn't it? What a dividend story, right? We put on. So you're already getting some great returns out of it.
Although they lowered their dividend slightly, didn't they?
They have, but it was expected, right? The thing is, the dividend will fluctuate with its earnings. I mean, that's natural. And we know that the earnings are probably going to go slightly lower than what was last year because, of course, they had a great period with pandemic, and they did. But when you look at it, they still delivered a very, very good half. And, I suppose the results were better than expected. And the beauty about it is really, for me, the online sales are still powering along pretty well. So they are slowly but surely moving most of the sales to online. And that's going to definitely win out probably in the future. So for me, dividend story, great dividend story, by the way. Hold on.
Right, PPS is an interesting one.
Yes.
So what's happened there, Wolf?
All right. So this one, look, on paper, the actual results look pretty good. Probably two things in there that the market didn't like, I'd say. One is, from a profit last year, they went to a loss this year to about 2 million odd. The market doesn't see it currently. We've seen it before, with Wise and all the other ones, that if they disappoint on the bottom line, they usually get sold off. And I think that's what's happened here. And there's no follow up on the takeover front either. So pretty quiet on that. So as a result, I think the markets are saying, well, guys, we want to probably see a better bottom line. You need to manage your cash flows a bit better. We're just going to probably move somewhere else for the moment. And that's at the end of the day, that's fair enough. The story's still intact for me, pretty good. I think they probably should deliver a much better half next 2022. And also they did talk about that it's going to be a fairly strong second half. So from that point of view, I'm okay with it. But the market's saying under the trend lines, you've probably got to sell.
Well, we'll wait to the end of the week. Yeah, Wolf, I think wait to the end of the week.
And then we make a decision.
Yeah, because it could be back and by. I mean, you get these sort of dramatic moves, don't you, when stocks suddenly put out announcements, and by the end of trade today,
knee-jerk reactions, don't we sometimes? So
yeah,
we just gotta wait. I agree. All right, so next one we've got is
we had a little HMX. Had some. We had looked at those drill results. I didn't think they were good enough to be up 12%.
I didn't even see them, so you can probably comment on those then.
Yeah, I mean,
wasn't good enough. Fair enough.
Well, Wolf, I mean, EM2 had a spate of those and doesn't move, and this has one. I think maybe just people in the company obviously excited about that drill result. So again, the chart wasn't good enough to buy on the weekend, and I wouldn't be buying it.
No, it's amazing how from one story to the next, you get fairly average looking at results to get jumped up, and EM2 come up with many of those, and nothing happens. That's just the nature of trading, isn't it? Just don't know.
Definitely, Wolf. JLG started the week quite nicely. It's had a bit of a sell-off, but at one stage it was up 5 or 6%. So hopefully some good news coming out there, Wolf, and not a bad-looking chart either.
All right, and CAE is the last one, Dave, I think, on my list that I had.
Yeah, I got that one too. Yeah.
Okay. And look, the results were okay. So I think it was about 80 meters at about 1.1, I think, combined. So that's the copper equivalence. So, a little bit of cheating, of course, but that's okay. A very thick intercept, close to 1%, decent. Then you just need to come up with a bit more of that. And they have been, they've been pretty good, actually. Look, if I'm in that, maybe be looking to take a profit because it just hasn't done enough, is it, today?
Yeah, it hasn't. It's sort of it's spiked up. Hard. You know what, Wolf? It's not an easy sort of chart to trend.
Chart, is it? No, it isn't.
Yeah, you can have a look on the daily, and you can see that.
And Dave, the other thing is they can come up with another drill result any day, and you'd go, "Oh, why did I sell it?"
On that note, Wolf, listen, thank you very much. I'd like to say we've been obviously rebuilding the Einstein's part of the website. So we put those recommendations out per the email. So look at that email. There's a few little, we did find a few buy signals, although a bit smaller stocks. So just be wary. But materials, there's a number of good looking stories that over the weekend. I think ILU was in there, Wolf, looking pretty good looking chart. I thought it looked excellent. And look, it's gone on with it today. I think SFR was actually looking pretty good as well. So see how they've done. Sorry, that's the daily. Let's go to the weekly. Ooh, there we go. Weekly. Here we go. Yeah, it's sort of starting to go. But I thought that chart looked very good. One of your favorites, I thought, is really worth a shout out was MLX. See how they're doing today, Wolf. Yeah, I mean, you've got
S32, Dave, one of my favorites. Look at that one. That's S32, so obviously that was in the
the list of stories on Einstein's looking pretty good. And you know what? I think we're being a little bit silly when we talk about gold plays, Wolf. We really should be talking OZL. So,
Right.
you know, although it hasn't gone on with it, I mean, maybe that's one worth having a look at. It's come down, it's held trend. One would be surprised if you don't see this higher by the end of the week, especially if there is a bit of war going on. And the other section, obviously, that's interesting, like we said, energy, and one stock again. Maybe we'll do another shout out, which isn't on that list, is ALD. So and that's great chart, and started to go on with it, and looking like that little breakout. So worth a have a look at. One of the smaller plays that actually had a nice looking chart was this little BRU, Wolf. See what they're doing today, and they're starting to go, aren't they? Their breakout last week was looking pretty good. So I don't know. I used to know that story years ago, but I'm sure since I really followed them, they're a totally different story now, I would imagine.
No, it's pretty similar still, Dave. It's still in WA. Eric Straight, we're still, I think, running it.
No, but I knew them when they were looking at. They had a place in Africa.
Were they? I don't think they ever were. Weren't they called Arc Energy or something? And Eric Streitberg took them over.
No, years ago.
Maybe even further back.
Around before. I think before this time even. Yeah, they did. I'm sure they had something in Africa. On that note, Wolf.
Okay. Well, we'll let everyone go, and we'll see them again tomorrow, I suppose.
Yeah, thank you very much for obviously everyone that's always supported Equity Story throughout the years. I mean, you know, I think we do look at.
There would be no Equity Story. I mean, that's pretty much a given.
And we do look at everyone, us as a bit of a family, and we want obviously if you know, and all the continued support we've had has been amazing. So thank you.
Love you all.
All right, thank you. See you, Wolf.